Please welcome the College Marshal for this evening's ceremony, Professor Brenda Stevenson.
Hello. I am so glad you could join us today. It is my honor to welcome you to UCLA's Commencement Weekend. This ceremony is devoted to honoring the students from the UCLA College of Letters and Science. While the students and the official party are assembling, let me take a moment to tell you about UCLA. I am proud to say that your graduate has attended one of America's finest universities. Come on. UCLA is a national and international leader in the breadth and quality of its academic, research, healthcare, cultural, continuing education, and athletic programs. 7 alumni and 6 faculty have been awarded the Nobel Prize. And every year, the accomplishments of our students grow. You will be pleased to know that the academic performance of the students in the class of 2015 makes them the highest achieving students to ever graduate from UCLA. Woo! That's right. If you are new to the UCLA campus, you are in Pauley Pavilion, the home of Bruin teams in men's and women's basketball and volleyball and women's gymnastics. UCLA has America's most successful intercollegiate sports program. Bruin teams have won more national championships than any other university. In Pauley, you can see the banners representing 49 championships won by men and women in 6 sports. In addition to our intercollegiate athletics program, Pauley has hosted the 1984 Olympics, visits by President Bill Clinton and the Dalai Lama, and the 1988 presidential debate between George H.W. Bush and Michael Dukakis. Other events that take place in Pauley include the new student welcome, Bruin Bash, Spring Sing, and numerous intramural and club sports teams practices and competitions. After commencement concludes, I invite you to look around UCLA outside of Pauley. You will find one of the world's most beautiful universities. In just a moment, the graduating class of the College of Letters and Science for 2015 will join us. After the students arrive, the official party will enter, including our faculty, the campus leadership, and our speakers. I want to offer you, each and every one of you, my congratulations. I know how proud you are of your graduate. The entire UCLA community shares your pride. Are we ready? family, and friends of our graduates, I present to you the graduating class of 2015 from UCLA's College of Letters and Science. ready to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, the official party. Hello, UCLA graduates. You are all so gorgeous and beautiful. Welcome to your commencement ceremony. Singing the national anthem is Analicia Avila. Please rise for the national anthem.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous flight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Thank you, Analicia. Now, I am pleased to introduce the Senior Dean of the College and Dean of Physical Sciences, Joe Rudnick.
Okay. Hello, UCLA graduates. On behalf of the deans and the faculty who join me on stage, I welcome you and your family to the commencement ceremony for the College of Letters and Science. I would also like to thank Professor Brenda Stevenson, our College Marshal, for greeting our guests this evening. Brenda. Graduates, this is a day to acknowledge your achievements and to celebrate the culmination of your undergraduate studies. You have met the highest challenges of education. You have been partners with faculty in our missions of learning and discovery. You will be the next generation of leaders in the fields you pursue. Every year, the accomplishments of our students grow. Class of 2015, I know you'll be gratified to know that you are the most talented and accomplished students ever to graduate UCLA. Graduates, joining us here today are many special people who stood by you through your years at UCLA, your families and friends. I would like to ask the parents, the partners, the friends, and the family members of our graduates to extend. Maybe I need to say that louder and more slowly. I would like to ask the parents, the partners, the friends, and the family members of our graduates to stand up. Come on. Thank you all.
Good evening, Bruins! As Dean Rudnick said, you are the most talented and accomplished, and we reserve the 7 o'clock ceremony for the best-looking seniors graduating from UCLA. My fellow deans and I am Pat Turner, Dean and Vice Provost for Undergraduate Education. My fellow deans and I are honored to acknowledge the students who graduate this evening with very special academic achievements. I would like to recognize the students who are graduating with one of the highest academic awards the College of Letters and Sciences gives to an undergraduate, the designation College Honors. The extraordinary students who are graduating with College Honors have completed outstanding work in their major and also a special set of rigorous courses. Of the thousands of students who are graduating from UCLA this year, only 450 are graduating with College Honors. Will the students who are graduating with College Honors please stand? Thank you. Please be seated.
Graduates, I am Victoria Sork, Dean of Life Sciences. I'm pleased to recognize our many students who are involved in projects in the community. They accomplish this work through campus programs that bring together civic involvement with academic courses. Would all the graduating seniors who served in the community please stand? This is a tradition that is part of UCLA. We're very proud of you. Please be seated. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Alessandro Duranti, the Dean of Social Sciences. I'm very privileged to be here tonight with you to acknowledge the recipients of the 2015 Chancellor's Service Award. The Chancellor's Service Award is presented to students whose college careers have been distinguished by dedication to both UCLA and the community. Will the students who have been honored as recipients of the Chancellor's Service Award please stand so we can recognize your great commitment? Thank you. Please be seated.
Hello, graduates. I'm David Skauberg, Dean of Humanities. I'm here to present our students who are receiving Latin honors, which is recognition for high academic achievement. There are 3 levels of Latin honors. First, I'd like to recognize the students who've received cum laude honors. Would you stand and be recognized for your accomplishments? Thank you, and please be seated. Next, I'd like to honor our students who are graduating magna cum laude. Would you please stand and be recognized? Thank you. Please be seated. Finally, will those students who are graduating with the highest Latin honors, summa cum laude, please stand and be recognized? Thank you, and please be seated.
Finally, I would like to recognize students who have participated in research while at UCLA. As you know, UCLA is one of the world's great research universities. More than half of our students enhance their academic careers by participating directly in research, working on independent research projects side by side with faculty, or writing an honors thesis, or participating in research classes. These students perform original work and advance the frontiers of knowledge. Would all of the graduating seniors who participated in research stand so that we can recognize your accomplishments? Congratulations. Please be seated. Now, I am pleased to welcome the Chancellor of UCLA. In his 8 years as Chief Executive of the campus, Gene Block has worked to strengthen the university's academic excellence, build our campus diversity, and inspire a new level of civic engagement within the UCLA family. Please join me in welcoming the Chancellor of UCLA, Gene Block.
Thank you. Thank you, Dean Rudnick, and greetings, graduates. 7 o'clock, always the best graduation. So we're here to recognize each one of you for your outstanding achievements, and you'll hear that over and over tonight. But also, collectively, we honor you as the class of 2015. So we congratulate all of you on your graduation, and this is the 92nd commencement ceremony of UCLA, so it's a young institution, and you're 92nd. You've navigated your way through an extraordinary set of course offerings, 5,000 courses, 129 majors. So you had phenomenal choices, and many of you have created even independent majors, so extraordinary opportunities. During your years here, you've witnessed a lot. We've had a former US president, 2 former US secretaries of state, a United Nations Secretary General, Nobel Prize laureates, CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, renowned artists, legendary entertainers. Lots of people have come to campus, and many of you have taken advantage of that. There's one more milestone to go, and it's this building. It's been 50 years since the class of 1965 filed into this storied arena for their commencement ceremony, which included the official dedication of Pauley Pavilion. So Pauley Pavilion, this beautiful structure, is 50 years old and a very special place for all of us. So I'd like to acknowledge and thank our distinguished faculty and staff whose presence today here bears witness to the perseverance and hard work that have brought you to this wonderful occasion. And of course, I must express my deepest gratitude to your parents, guardians, and family members who are here today. It's certainly appropriate that they're surrounding you today in Pauley. They've surrounded you with love, support, and wisdom throughout your young lives and into your collegiate years. This really is a team sport. I mean, each one of you have had a support network, and we thank all of those people for being here this evening, so thank you. So graduates, you know, the degree you will receive today, and I will bless you with the degree shortly, is certainly a symbol of your academic achievement. But more importantly, it's a summons to responsibility and action. It bears with it responsibility. As a public research university, and I want to emphasize the word public, our education and research functions are inextricably linked with the commitment to serving the public good. This is what makes UCLA so special among institutions of higher learning, and what transforms a UCLA education into more than just the pursuit of scholarship. So UCLA is certainly special. We all know that. For example, it receives about $1 billion annually in research funding. That's a lot of research funding for a university. We routinely place near the top in prestigious national and world academic rankings. You see many of those rankings. They come out usually over the summer. Not to brag, you know, we're often in the top 10 or 12 universities in the world. And, as I always like to point out, we're the only university in the top 10 to 12 in the world that's less than 100 years old. Compare yourselves to Oxford or Cambridge. This is a young, it's a young and very dynamic institution. We're large, 42,000 undergraduates and graduate students. That places us the largest university in California. And many of you have heard this, we receive more applications for undergraduate admission than any other campus in the US, approximately 113,000 applications last year for 8,700 first year and transfer slots. So those are astounding numbers, and obviously you're the lucky ones who are here. And it is truly astounding the number of applications we receive. We're large in terms of budget, over $6 billion a year. We're one of the top of 5 employers in Southern California. So this is really impressive, to be certain. But it's not all that UCLA is. What makes us more than special actually makes us unique. And I understand that that's a very strong word, the word unique, is that we're all of this, but we're much more. Our student population is arguably the most ethnically and culturally diverse group of any prestigious university in the country. About 36% of our students receive Pell Grants, and nearly 56% receive some form of financial aid to attend this great university. That places us near the very top year after year in the most economically diverse, prestigious institution in the US. So not only are we excellent academically, we also are remarkably economically diverse in our student body. About 1/3 of our graduates will be the first generation in their family to receive a 4-year degree. So congratulations to everyone. So again, getting back, and tonight's a night to brag, obviously, about all of ourselves. Getting back to the term unique, I think if you consider all of this, all these claims at once, and that we've accomplished this in less than 100 years, we certainly are unique. Now, are we perfect? Absolutely not. Like any community, we have our good moments, and we've had many, and we've had moments where we've come up short as a community. But we remain fully committed to continuing to build a campus environment that is more accepting, more understanding, and more inclusive. And one of the great things about this institution is its diversity. It's one of its core strengths, and we'll continue to work on that. So our mission to serve the public good means that UCLA's institutional identity extends well beyond the 419 acres of Westwood. And I think you realize this is the smallest campus, space-wise, of all the campuses of the UC system. So we're small in space, big in aspirations. But we go way beyond those 419 acres. And that's evidenced in numerous ways. Certainly the healing work of our four world-class hospitals and 150 clinics that serve about 1.5 million patients a year throughout the Southland. It's demonstrated by what goes on this campus. Endless numbers of conferences, educational projects, museum exhibits, concerts, lectures, and other events held on this campus, not only to benefit you, you're the primary beneficiaries, but also people of this region. It's also felt, and this is something you may not realize as sort of on-grounds undergraduates, you may not realize 40,000 people each year take advantage of UCLA's extension with more than 100 certificate programs to make themselves better professionally and personally. So way beyond this campus, UCLA is reaching a very large population, really nationally, mostly in Southern California, but nationally and even internationally through web programs. So this is the evidence of a unique combination, I would say, of scholarship and service that really sets us apart. So while there's a long list of achievements, and we can use a lot of adjectives to describe this, really I think our university motto sums it up best: let there be light, fiat lux. Our university core mission is to illuminate darkness, to bring light into the world around us, and I believe that you, the graduates, are really the bearers of that light. You're among those who actually have to make a difference when you graduate tonight and you go out into the world. You are the ones who instinctively seek to replace darkness with light, fear with truth, and despair with hope. And what's most impressive is that you don't have to be encouraged to do any of this. You've come here actually with enormous commitments to your communities, and you're going to transform the world. We're just helping you develop the tools to do that. But you're already doing that. You've already made an impact. So the class of 2015 has put in thousands of hours hitting the books, but you began your first experience as new students with UCLA Volunteer Day, and you put in countless additional hours devoting your time and talent to assist schools, food banks, parks, shelters, veterans facilities, neighborhood centers, and your fellow UCLA students. So many of you volunteer and give back. It's extraordinary. Again, I think this is a hallmark of a great public institution. And I'm truly humbled by the breadth of your involvement and the depth of your compassion, understanding, and openness, which you've made with all of your commitments. You know, well beyond your coursework, every student I have a chance to talk to is doing so much more and doing much more for other people. So I'd like to just mention a few of your compatriots, your graduates, by name, even though this just represents an example of the fantastic work going on throughout the student population. So one person I'd like to mention is Amir Hakimi. So Amir, who some of you know, is a pretty remarkable guy that found not one, but 2 service organizations while being an undergraduate, while also managing to earn a degree in neuroscience. Amir envisioned the use for unwanted furniture, the furniture that you all leave behind when you leave for the summer and you don't know what to do with the sofa and you don't know what to do with the bed. He discovered that transitional housing programs for the homeless people were in desperate need of furnishings, as many formerly homeless clients literally ate and slept on the floor for a lack of furniture. So we started an organization, Furnish the Homeless, and it has supplied 38 transitional homes with tables, chairs, couches, beds, and lamps, and he plans to extend this program to campuses across the nation. Just recently, Furnish the Homeless chapter was founded at our sister campus, UC San Diego. Pretty impressive. But wait, there's more to say about Amir. He and as few of his fellow students also founded Career Closet. That's Career Closet, which provided UCLA students with free professional attire for job interviews and networking events so you can look your best for your job interview. he learned that it was just too costly for some students to purchase clothing for this all-important interview. So to help his fellow students look good and feel more confident, his organization collects donated clothing from alumni, faculty, staff, and the community. They also work with local cleaners and tailors to provide discounts on dry cleaning and alterations. So full service, he's thought of everything. So Myhr, I thank you on behalf of the entire UCLA family. Thank you for what you've done. So another example, Samantha Pejik, a leader of our UCLA gymnastics team, is the epitome of what it means to be a student athlete. As a student, she's a four-year Scholastic All-American and is graduating today with a degree in communication studies. Her long list of achievements in athletics includes being a multi-year All-American, an Olympic silver medalist, and a gold medalist at the World Championships. Incredible. And she just added to this 2015 NCAA all-around champion and 2015 NCAA balance beam champion to her credentials. So this is an extraordinary student athlete. But what Samantha did a few months ago in competition against Utah is what I'd like to mention today. One of Utah's leading gymnasts tore her Achilles tendon during her floor routine. As we all know, this is a horrible injury, one that Samantha herself suffered, causing her to miss the entire 2013 season. The stakes were high for the meet, with UCLA and Utah both being very, very talented rivals. And Samantha said that members of both teams were shaken up by the severe injury they had just witnessed. The next Utah gymnast, remember this is the competition, that was to perform was a friend of Samantha's who had also previously torn her Achilles. In most sports, opposing team members usually don't speak to anyone on the other team during competition. This is also true of gymnastics. Yet Samantha, realizing that her friend was shaken by what had just happened to her teammate, stepped onto the floor and offered her friend a few words of encouragement. You can do it. Her compassionate gesture took only a few seconds, but it was noticed and appreciated by all who witnessed it, certainly the entire competing team, and was quickly seen by others via social media. So Samantha said at that moment she couldn't have been prouder to be a Bruin. And Samantha, your Bruin family is proud of you, and your team's sportsmanship was just recently recognized by an award from the Pac-12. So congratulations, Samantha, and your team. Savannah Bedalich, who graduates today with a degree in gender studies, transformed an experience of personal trauma into a student-led movement offering healing and support to survivors of sexual assault and violence. And in doing so, she has become a crucial voice and a resource to survivors both here and across the country. The 7,000 in Solidarity campaign, I think most of you have heard of that, which she founded, also works with campus officials dedicated to the care of survivors and the prevention of sexual assault, and has made our efforts to protect all of our students even stronger. Because of her tireless work to raise awareness of and combat sexual assault and violence, I nominated the 7,000 in Solidarity campaign for the University of California Presidential Award for Outstanding Student Leadership. And I was honored to be in Sacramento last year when Savannah accepted the award for the University of California, from the University of California System President, Janet Napolitano. Savannah, you have made a lasting impact upon all of us. We are grateful to your commitment, and thank you for your courage. Congratulations. And as you all know, there are many more stories like this among you. The world needs more people like you. It desperately needs people with good minds who also possess compassionate hearts, and you are those people. So let me take a few moments to speak to you as our newest alumni. You're going to transition from student very soon to alumni. So this ceremony is not simply a fond farewell to you now that you've been awarded your degrees. We want to support you going forward. Many of you will change your careers multiple times over your lifetime. Your degree at UCLA today will be very helpful, but you will be back for additional continuing education, perhaps several times through your life, and we want to be there when you need us. So your relationship with UCLA is simply entering a new phase. We count on you in many ways. First, we hope to provide you with continuing education, but we'll also look to you for advice. Your experience will help us keep current, and to be on the cutting edge of innovative thinking and path-breaking solutions. We want to be relevant. We want to provide the right types of coursework and experiences for classes in 2025 and 2055. And you, as young alumni, will help guide us about the kinds of experiences that you obtained here that were most valuable, and we look for your advice. So I've said before that students are the heart of the university, and you clearly are. The alumni are its lifeblood. Both are indispensable to an institution's health and critical for its future success. So if each of you is a Bruin for life, I know that, and I'm pleased to say that we've reorganized the UCLA Alumni Association to serve your needs and to strengthen the bonds that connect you with UCLA now and in the future. So now, because we've changed membership, you are all members of the Alumni Association right now, And congratulations. We want you to stay connected to us. We want you to visit us often here. And we will provide you with career and networking opportunities that I think will add value to your degree as time moves forward. So be assured we'll be there with you for the years ahead. So class of 2015, and that's a wonderful, 2015 has a great ring to it. It's a great year to be graduating. You will do fantastic things. We hope that we've helped you along that course. We look forward to reading about you and all the difference you'll make in the world. And again, my heartfelt congratulations.
Thank you, Chancellor Block. I am very happy to introduce your student speaker. Elias Saba is a physiological sciences major graduating with college honors. Originally from San Jose, California, he came to UCLA inspired by the university's commitment to community health. He shares this commitment and demonstrated it with his service to the Mobile Clinic Project, Stroke Force, and TEACH programs. As the president of UCLA's medical fraternity, Phi Delta Epsilon, he helped raise more than $20,000 for the Children's Miracle Network through the first ever anatomy fashion show. In his last term, he taught his own certified course on stroke education. Upon graduating, he plans to attend medical school. Please welcome a graduate who is dedicated to UCLA, your student speaker, Elias Saba.
To the faculty, administrators, my fellow undergraduates, our friends and family and loved ones today. The thing about graduation is that whether we graduate from kindergarten or college, our loved ones are always looking at us and waving and smiling at us and trying to get us to notice. So on behalf of the entire undergraduate population, we do see you and we do appreciate you. So thank you. But speaking of families, my parents think in entirely different ways. My dad's the type of person who will look at a bicycle, but thinks down to the metal, chains, and gears, recognizing the importance of elements often overlooked. And in contrast, my mother always realizes the bigger potential in the small things, seeing in simple ingredients like flour, sugar, and flame, the possibility of a souffle. And at UCLA, we learn to think in both of those ways. Not long after we climbed the Jan steps, UCLA released a video called The Optimist. And for a long time, I didn't quite understand what it meant. How could one video, one simple brushstroke, optimism, paint the entire UCLA community? We came from all over the world, each of us a precious mosaic of experiences, each bearing convictions, dreams, even fears. For me, those fears were not quite finding my niche, or missing my friends and family, large crowds. Some things never change. but my story is evidence that UCLA doesn't always choose optimists, it creates them. Like looking at a bicycle and seeing the details within, we recognized the hidden, small struggles underlying reality every day. That moment on the first day of class when you realize that it's going to be a clicker quarter, or the struggle of trying to make it to BCAF by 1:59 a.m. to get that last meatball sub. Trying to characterize our flirtatious relationship with the inverted fountain. Trust me, it's complicated. You can look, but you cannot touch. But like seeing the possibility of a souffle in sugar and heat, we were inspired by the optimism and kindness we saw every single day. It's the optimism of sitting in Powell before your last final, clutching your course reader, praying, "Forgive me, for I have skimmed." It's the uncertainty of meeting your roommates for the first time in Hedrick Hall, not knowing that they would become your best friends. It's the kindness of that person who found your third Bruin card and made your day. It's the wild flutter in your heart when your professor knows you by name. Our optimism brought us together to achieve inspiring feats of kindness, like standing on our feet for 26 hours during Dance Marathon, which, as a matter of fact, is the largest student-run philanthropy on the West Coast. We performed on stage under these lights and a very groovy Alanis Morissette at Spring Sing. And we sat up in the Rose Bowl stands and let the rain bear upon our faces as we overcame USC 3 times. I actually just shook Brett Hundley's hand, and I haven't washed it since. But that last example wasn't so kind, but it certainly was satisfying. Maybe you had the opportunity while you were here to do research with any of these world-class scholars behind me today. Or maybe, just 2 days ago, you voluntarily took off nearly all your clothes to participate in UCLA's famous quarterly undie run. Undergraduates, I hope you all did that last one, because trust me, that's the last time doing something like that will ever be socially acceptable again. There's a quote that goes, "If we doubted our fears instead of doubting our dreams, imagine how much in life we'd accomplish." And today I stand in Pauley Pavilion, and we're all brimming with this optimism, but also an equal measure of uncertainty. Because just as we came from all over the world to share these past 4 years, we now depart, and we cannot know where our stories will take us, nor can we predict what we will accomplish. But we now carry with us these precious new experiences that will forever change the way we interact with the world. Ultimately, we leave this university knowing that changing the world for the better is not so difficult, so long as we continue to bring to every pursuit, every obstacle, every bicycle and rising souffle, our unbreakable commitment to optimism. To the undergraduates, I'm confident, hopeful, optimistic that we're going to be okay. Congratulations, this one's to you. And now, I am honored to introduce our keynote speaker. Dr. Nathan Myhrvold's accomplishments read like those of the most interesting man in the world. He's an inventor, author, and researcher. He's a brilliant thinker guided by passion, curiosity, and a willingness to transcend those boundaries. Dr. Myhrvold enrolled at UCLA get this, at the age of 14, and earned a bachelor's degree in mathematics and a master's degree in geophysics and space physics, both in 1979. He then, not finished, received another master's in mathematical economics and a doctorate in theoretical and mathematical physics from Princeton University, which later awarded him its highest alumni honor, the James Madison Medal. He was then awarded a postdoctoral fellowship by Cambridge University, and as chief strategist and chief technology officer at Microsoft, he helped spearhead many of the company's most successful products and founded Microsoft Research. In 2001, he founded Intellectual Ventures, which manages one of the largest and fastest growing intellectual property portfolios in the world. He's written numerous books and articles on topics ranging from modernist cuisine to climate change. Always exploring new territory, Dr. Myhrvold currently serves as an affiliate research associate of paleontology at the Museum of the Rockies, where he funds and participates in paleontological research. Dinosaurs. Today we are honored to have this incredibly accomplished Bruin speak to the class of 2015. I present Dr. Nathan Myhrvold.
Well, first, let's hear it one more time for the class of 2015. Now, I know you're excited to be here. I'm excited to be here, actually for two reasons. The first is, who doesn't love a costume party, right? We get to dress up like this. But the other reason is, before today, I'd never been to a UCLA graduation. I got those degrees, but there was this small matter of some overdue library books. And I swear I got them in on time, and so as a matter of principle, I wouldn't pay the $32. So no diploma if you do that. Now, this should be a life lesson to everyone here. Do not mess with the University of California. They do not forget. They will hunt you down, and you'll wind up giving a commencement speech. It's the second one today, and I'm hoping we're cool for the $32 now. Now, I know there's a lot of parents and friends and family. Let's also hear it for them. And that includes my mom, because 36 years ago, she didn't get to go to the graduation, so she's here tonight. She was a single mother, and she made incredible sacrifices. I couldn't have accomplished anything I did without her, so thanks, Mom. Any transfer students here? Awesome. I was one too. So, this time of year, hundreds of people around the country are chosen to be commencement speakers. They're interesting, sometimes they're controversial, but they're all really successful. But I don't actually think that's why I'm here. I think I'm here because of all my failures. Now, that sounds weird, but it turns out if you try to do anything interesting or anything hard in life, you're going to fail sometimes. And I think one of the most important aspects of life is how you cope with failures. I'm an inventor of more than 500 US patents. And to have 500 good ideas, you have a lot of bad ideas. I wrote a cookbook that has 1,800 recipes in it. There were a lot of disasters before we got them perfected. Now, my resume doesn't show any of that. My resume looks great, because it turns out resumes do look great. Particularly on LinkedIn, you get to write them yourself. It's awesome. But it turns out that I know all those things I screwed up. But I never could have done the good things if I had gotten freaked out about it, if I'd been tentative, if I'd been afraid. So the only reason I was able to accomplish the things that probably did get me here is that I had an attitude about failure. Now, so most commencement speakers come and they tell you how to succeed in life. I decided I would come here tonight and tell you how to fail. Now, failure can obviously... Oh, this is great. We got some failures in the room tonight. Awesome. So, you know, obviously failures can be bad. They can be life or death. But I think that fear of failure is actually worse than failure itself. It's less visible because when you fail at something, it's kind of out there and everybody sees it. When you don't try something you could have, when you step back, when you try to play it safe, that's not so obvious. But if in fact we all did take more chances, I think we'd be better off both personally as a society. Now, there's a popular saying, failure's not an option. You're really supposed to grit your teeth, and failure's not an option. And I get why people say that. But whenever they do, I always think, you know, if that's really true, you must be doing something boring and probably unimportant. Because, you know, first of all, anything I'm associated with, whether, you know, I've been a programmer and a chef and a inventor, a scientist, if I'm associated with it, failure's an option. Now, partially that's because I'm a screw-up, but that's not the only reason. It's because I try to do stuff that's hard. If you're trying to do something that no one's ever done before, guess what? Failure is an option. And while I understand why people like to be brave about it and say, oh, it's not going to happen, fact is it does happen. And you create this culture where people worry about failure so much they don't take chances they should. And the worst of it for me is that a lot of people aren't even really afraid of failure. They're afraid of the embarrassment that goes with failure. It's not really the thing that is wrong. It's the, oh, what will people say? How will I look? Oh, that'll be so embarrassing. You know, for a lot of people, there's nothing worse than a perfect record because then they're so anxious to preserve the perfect record, they pull back. So I think that you've got to treat failure as something that you're more comfortable with. And you don't have to stigmatize it. Are there any Dodgers fans here today? Okay. Well, Dodgers have some great players, including a guy named Adrian Gonzalez. Okay? Adrian has an amazing batting average right now of .318. Now, what I find amazing about that is it means he gets out more than 68% of the time. Adrian is not a hitter, he is a misser. Now, the way the rules of baseball work, it's actually okay if you strike out 2/3 of the time. That's still great. Because we choose in baseball to celebrate the hits. And the strikeouts, well, hey, that's part of the game. That's not a big deal. Now, it turns out the rules of life, they're a lot more like baseball than you'd think. You usually have a choice. Do you obsess about the strikeouts or do you count the hits? Failure isn't the absence, or excuse me, success isn't the absence of failure. It's about doing good things. It's about the hits. So, baseball is one approach. But let me take this in a different direction. My company's got a division called Global Good. And there we try to take high technology and use it to solve problems for some of the poorest people on earth. Technology has touched the lives of everybody here. All of you graduates have grown up in a world with computers and cell phones and so forth. You get to talking to me, I'll sound like your grandpa. You know, well, back in my day, we had slide rules here at UCLA, which actually is true. First year I was here, we still used slide rules. We'd move these little sticks to calculate numbers. So technology has completely affected our lives. But our lives, to be honest, didn't need that much transformation. We didn't need it that bad. The tech industry, which I love and I've been a part of, the tech industry is about making tools and toys for rich people. And by rich people, I mean anyone in the United States or Europe, Japan, the developed parts of the world. There's 2.5 billion people that live on $2 a day. And nobody's off transforming their lives with technology. But for them, transforming their lives isn't a, ooh, look at my cool new app thing. It's a life or death thing. Technology is the most potent kind of magic our society has. So we try to use it to help these situations. But we get lots of pushback. Lots of people say, oh, high tech, that's too risky, that's too difficult, that's not the right environment, use something appropriate. The head of a big international aid agency told me, you know, we tried technology once and learned our lesson because it didn't work. Once? Do you know how many search engine companies there were before Google? There's more than a dozen. They failed. They took hundreds of millions of dollars of investors' money with them. Hundreds of people lost their jobs. Now, did that mean that search didn't work? No. And another company came along and made it fabulously successful. One of the things that Silicon Valley gets right is Silicon Valley realizes that the road to success is paved with failure. You gotta walk that road to get there. Now, that's not so with these international development agencies. The thing is, if you're trying to fight crushing poverty, a problem that human society has always had, just in terms of civilized world, maybe it's 10,000 years old. If you're trying to solve a problem like that, guess what? Failure is an option. And if it isn't, you're trying something really timid. So you ought to get out of the way and let somebody else try something hard. Now, one of the most common forms of learning is called trial and error. Notice it is not called trial and success. First, that's because there's way more ways to fail than there are to succeed. So you learn more from it. The second thing is, success is really easy to rationalize. You know, we're all very good at patting ourselves on the back and say, well, yeah, of course I succeeded. I'm just so damn good. So you learn a lot more from failure. But the flip side is, when you fail, you better learn from it. You've paid a tuition that's higher than UCLA's in most cases. Learn from it. So in our Global Good unit, we had a project to make milk pasteurizers for small dairy farmers in Africa. We had this great idea. We worked on it for like a year. We made this prototype. It failed. Totally different work, didn't work. We scrapped the whole thing. So we say, okay, what do we do next? Well, we came up with a second idea, totally different. We work on that for a year and a half. We make the prototype. It works great in Seattle. We take it to Africa. Totally fails again. But along the way, we discovered that these farmers don't have the money to use an aluminum or stainless steel milk can like you'd use at a dairy in the United States. Instead, they used old kerosene jerry cans, and that's what they put the milk in. And these things have hollow handles that you can never really clean out because you can't reach up in where the handle is. So they were like beyond disgusting inside. There was enormous microbial counts. It was a terrible thing. So we had a summer intern named Morgan, and we said, Morgan, why don't you try to get us a better milk jug just for our trials? So Morgan really got into it, and he designed this milk jug, and he made it stack well, and then he made a funnel that goes on top so you could milk from the cow directly into the container without putting it in a dirty bucket first. Then he put these grooves on the sides. You could use a bungee cord to strap it to a bicycle or a motorbike. Well, when our second project failed, the farmer said, you know, we really like these milk cans. Can we get some more of them? So we said, hey, maybe we're onto something. And we designed it further. We licensed it for free to a company in Kenya that is now making these things and shipping them all over Africa. We even did a deal with Nestle, a big food company. They buy a lot of milk in those countries. They agreed to pay more for milk delivered in those containers, which is a huge thing for the farmers. We think that within the next few years, 9 million farmers around the world will be using our milk cans. So, this is a case where failure was an option. We took that option twice. But then a seemingly insignificant part of the project turned out to be really cool. So I'm going to call this one a hit, not a miss. Now, we continue to try high-tech approaches like those first two. You know, I wish they would have succeeded. We've had other high-tech things that do succeed. But we're not going to let any one failure stop us from trying to do something cool. By the way, Morgan still works for us. This was a few years ago. And he played a key role in our company's response to the Ebola crisis. So he's still doing fantastic work. Now, any advice on failure usually has a try again portion to it. You say, hey, you got to keep trying. And that's right. You do have to keep trying. But I want to bring up a contradiction. Sometimes when you learn from your errors, what you learn is you ought to change your approach. You ought to quit. So sometimes you should keep going and sometimes you should quit. And I know that's confusing. I wish there was a simpler way to put it. But I'm afraid that's the way it is. In my company, we got a couple of mottos about this. If you find yourself beating your head against a wall, step back, think for a minute, maybe give the wall 2 more good whacks with your head. But then maybe you should find a softer spot on the wall. Another motto we have is, it's fine to flirt with failure, but try not to fall in love. And when I think about this contradiction of when do you keep going and when do you quit, I actually think about 2 experiences that happened to me, not in high tech, but way out in the wilderness. And the first was in Alaska. I was getting into a float plane. The weather was terrible. I asked the bush pilot, is it really safe to take off? And he smiles and he says, that will be determined at the inquest. Now, there's a lot of things in life you can't tell up front. But you also can't live life in retrospect. You know, your car has got a windshield about this big. It's got a rear view mirror about that big. Now, you need both of them to drive, but their relative size is kind of the relative importance. A lot more important to see what's in front of you than what's behind you. A lot of organizations, a lot of people, get that mixed up. And they operate their lives or their companies with a giant rear view mirror with which they scrutinize the past with great detail, and a tiny little peephole that every now and then they look, oh, let's see what's coming. That's not the way to do it. Unfortunately, there's no way to get around the fact that you don't know, is this the time to quit or not? In Botswana, I was on a photo safari, and out of nowhere, this big bull elephant charged. My guide stayed calm, so I better stay here. And the elephant comes running up, and it's trumpeting, and there's dust kicked up, and you can feel the ground shake. And it stops a few yards from us, trumpets again, and sort of walks off. And the guide says, well, you can always tell a bluff charge. And I said, my heart's pounding. I said, really? How? He smiles and he says, they stop. Now, I think he had a couple points. One is he's fundamentally cooler than I am. Second, I'm not thinking this is a man who worries too much about fear of failure. But there's so many times in life when you just do have to go with it. You can't outthink it. It happens too fast. Now, one thing I can guarantee is everybody in this room has failed at something at some point. And I can guarantee you're going to fail at something else again. The measure of a person is not whether you succeed or fail. You're going to fail. And if you fail not enough, you're probably not trying hard enough. The measure of a person isn't about whether you fail, it's what you do afterwards. And that's where I hope you will join me and Adrian Gonzalez, because damn it, I intend to go out swinging. Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan and Elias, for those inspiring remarks. Now, it is my honor to present the candidates for the conferral of their degrees. Graduates, this is it. I will call on the deans of the college to present the bachelor's candidates and to convince Chancellor Block of their worthiness. The candidates for the bachelor's degree in the Division of Physical Sciences will be presented by Dean Joseph Rudnick.
Thank you, Pat. Will the candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Arts in the Division of Physical Sciences please rise and remain standing? So let me, before I get into my spiel, I want to explain what's going on here. This is the opportunity for each of the deans, each of the academic deans, for us to express our affection and esteem for our graduates. It's also a bit of a friendly competition, because I'm going to boast about you. Everything I say is going to be absolutely true, but it will be in the form of hyperbole. You have a job here, and that is when you hear your department or your major mentioned, I want you to let us all know who you are. That is, don't hold back. It's actually, for us, it's the hardest job because we are the smallest division in terms of graduates. So make sure that everybody knows that the physical sciences are at this ceremony. And this is important. Actually, it's very important to us and to this institution. You and everybody else graduating today, you are the pride of this institution. You are the hope of our society, and every single one of you is the future of our country. All right, so are you ready? All right, here we go. To put a capstone on the last century, Time magazine set out to identify the person of the century, someone who, for good or ill, had a fundamental influence on the world in that tumultuous and pivotal period in our history. From a long list of important people, artists, political leaders, titans of business, and scholars, the editors of Time magazine chose a physical scientist, Albert Einstein. And the physical sciences are no less relevant to our new century. The great challenges of our time, deep questions about the nature of our universe, about our origins, and about our future in the world in which we live are grounded in the physical sciences. So let me give you some examples. Climate change lies in the domain of our students in atmospheric and oceanic sciences. There's more than one of you. Come on. atmosphere, Earth, planetary and space sciences, and environmental science. The investigation into the structure and deep history of our universe, as well as the possibility of other life in the cosmos, will be pioneered by our physics and astronomy graduates. That's more like it. Our graduates in mathematics and statistics will develop the mastery of the flood of data that we must now process in order to understand and manage an ever more complex world. The discovery of compounds that cure diseases and lead to the sustainable generation of energy will be the work of our graduates in the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. All these and more will be addressed by you, our physical sciences graduates. So physical science graduates, you all leave here with a deep fund of knowledge in the science underlying what we now know about our world. You also carry with you finely honed skills in reasoning and analysis that will equip you to overcome the most daunting challenges that will be thrown your way by advanced training, by the workforce, and by life in general. You are the cream of the crop. You have mastered the hard sciences. Chancellor Block, Jean, it is my honor to present to you the dedicated, the inquisitive, the analytical, the gifted, the altogether stellar candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Arts from the Division of Physical Sciences.
Thank you, Dean Rudnick. Candidates for the bachelor's degree from the Physical Sciences, please be seated. Speaking to the virtues of the candidates for the Division of for the bachelor's degree in the Division of Humanities is Dean David Skaberg.
Thank you, Pat. Will the candidates for the Bachelor of Arts degree in the Division of Humanities please rise and remain standing? Chancellor Block, Dean Turner, Jean, Pat. What makes the humanists qualified this evening? If you're looking for someone to read the most basic texts of your cultural tradition, to interpret them for you, to help explain the lessons that have been passed down by your ancestors, who are you going to ask? A humanist. No. If you're trying to understand that very interesting person across the hallway here at UCLA, or that person across the street, or the people who live across town whom you really want to understand deeply, or those interesting people, those very interesting people on the other sides of the ocean, who are you going to ask? A humanist, of course. Let's say that you'd like to understand the nature of truth and how it's possible for human beings to know anything. Ask a humanist. Let's say that you want to hire someone who's capable of understanding unfamiliar and difficult material, interpreting it well, speaking about it clearly, writing about it persuasively, working well with a team, managing a team. Hire a humanist. And let's say that it's time for you to understand the joys of love, the sorrows of loss, the meaning and the values that make your life worth living. Be a humanist. That's what makes humanists worthy of graduation here today. Humanists, you've spent your years at UCLA examining the most profound issues relating to the human condition. You've learned to understand and respect the languages, the philosophies, the traditions and cultures of our nation and of the entire world, and to appreciate the things that unite us all. Chancellor Block, it's my privilege to present to you our informed and articulate majors in languages, literatures, and cultures from around the world, including Hebrew, Latin, and Greek. Let's hear some noise. Russian, German, Old Norse, Finnish, Danish, Armenian, Arabic, yes, and Persian, Hindi, Urdu, Chinese, Japanese, and Korean, French, Italian, Portuguese, and Spanish. And to present our sophisticated and perceptive majors in the study of religion, comparative literature, classics, and linguistics. I must mention our creative and contemplative majors in music history, art history, philosophy, applied linguistics, and English, and the students who explored programs in LGBT studies and digital humanities. Chancellor Block, I present to you the literate, logical, brilliant, creative, and humane candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts from the Division of Humanities.
Thank you, Dean Skaberg. Candidates for the bachelor's degree from the humanities, please be seated. Speaking to the Chancellor about the candidates for the bachelor's degree in the Division of Life Sciences is Dean Victoria Sork.
All right, come on. Will the candidates for the degrees of Bachelor in Science and Bachelor of Arts in the Division of Life Sciences, if you haven't already stood up, stand up now. By the way, our speaker tonight was a life scientist from Physiological Sciences. Didn't he do a great job? You, our graduating students, have come into life sciences at an exciting time. Over the course of your lifetimes, our ability to study life has catapulted in ways we couldn't have imagined just a couple of decades ago. We can see images of the human brain to identify which neurons respond to different stimuli, to better understand how the brain works to come up with mental health solutions, or even to use brain imaging to figure out better ways to do marketing. We can examine DNA and RNA sequences and combine those with complex computational models so that we can understand biochemical pathways to understand how humans function and develop better treatments and better cures for disease. We can use breakthroughs in genetics to develop modified plants for new biofuels, or to develop conservation strategies for the management of healthy natural populations of other species. Well, at UCLA, we cover a wide range of hard sciences, living sciences, humane sciences, all in the life sciences. These include marine biology, ecology, behavior, and evolution, human biology and society, our newest major, computational and systems biology. Now I'm going to start. Some of our majors are descriptions. They're not single words. The next major, microbiology, immunology, and molecular genetics. Or molecular cell and developmental biology. Psychobiology, neurosciences, physiological sciences, and our largest major, psychology. In these rapidly changing times, we need people like you to pursue careers in universities K through 12 schools, medical professions, other healthcare professions, industry, government, entrepreneurship, all of these to make life better for society. Chancellor Block, I'm honored to present to you the psychologically well-adjusted, biologically sound, ecologically sensitive, evolutionarily complex, immunologically resistant, molecular-based, physiologically well-integrated, developmentally sophisticated, computationally advanced, and Chancellor, are you listening? Because this is something that doesn't apply to any of the other divisions, not the next one either. The special, unique graduates and candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Arts in the Division of Life Sciences. I present to you.
Thank you, Dean Sork. Candidates for the bachelor's degree from the Life Sciences, please be seated. Speaking to the merits of the candidates for the bachelor's degree in the Division of Social Sciences is Dean Alessandro Durante.
All right, yes, time to get up. Yes, yes. I was listening to my colleagues talk about the importance of what they do, which is true. I agree. I think that we're very lucky in our college, Letters and Science, UCLA. We have great scientists in the physical sciences, in the life sciences. We have great humanists. All of that is true. The question is, can you have a great science, great humanity disciplines, a great university like UCLA without a deep understanding of the way society works? That's why you need the social sciences. That's why, because today more than ever, you need to study the roots of social and cultural conflicts in order not to fight, not to have wars. Today more than ever, you need to isolate what is it that produces inequality in order to eradicate poverty. Today, more than ever, you need to collaborate with others to communicate across cultures and languages and societies, establish long-term relationship with people from other neighborhoods, cities, states, and nations. Today, more than ever, you need the social sciences. And how do we do that? We do it in this wide range of disciplines and majors. We educate in aerospace studies, military science, and naval science, American Indian studies, African American studies, Asian American studies, gender studies, Chicano studies, geography, communication studies, anthropology, sociology, history, political science, and economics. We do all of that very well because we are cool people, because we study hard, we are active agents of change. We understand society to create a better world for yourself, for your family, friends, colleagues, and more than that, for the world at large. So, Chancellor's Block, I'm honored to present to you the most socially engaged, research-savvy, service-oriented, culturally creative, interactionally skillful, around-the-clock inspired and inspiring, multilingual, multicultural, and multi-everything else. The candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Arts from the great, breathtaking, tremendous, splendid UCLA Division of Social Sciences.
Thank you, Dean Durante. Candidates for the bachelor's degree from the Division of Social Sciences, please be seated. The candidates for the bachelor's degree have been presented. I now call on Chancellor Block to confer the degrees of Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Arts on the class of 2015. Will all of the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Arts please stand and remain standing, and if you find them worthy, give them their degrees.
So candidates, I arrived skeptical tonight, but I've listened to compelling arguments from all of the deans about how important, how powerful, how impactful your education has been. And you have extraordinary deans, and I have been persuaded. And therefore, now, by the virtue of the authority vested in me by the Regents of the University of California, I hereby confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science. Congratulations. That's great.
Graduates, let me congratulate all of us for becoming the newest alumni of UCLA. Graduates, we have one final tradition to observe. Before we received our degrees, we wore our tassels on the right side of our mortarboards. Now that our degrees have been conferred, it's time to move the tassel to the left side of our mortarboards and join the select company of UCLA graduates. Let's turn our tassels to the left.
To close commencement, please join Iris Kwan in the singing of the Alma Mater, Hail to the Hills of Westwood. The words are printed on the back of your program.
Sea below, hail to
Thank you, Iris. And thanks to all of you for joining us this evening. Best wishes to the class of 2015. Congratulations. Go Bruins!
Guests, please exit the arena by the east doors and meet your graduates in Bruin Plaza.